This is how well it's going over in Republico land, ladies and gentlemen. Did Chip Roy call MAGA Republicans motherfuckers? He didn't hold back recently and tells how long it will take to fix the border. That's the subtitle of this one. This is Joey Pags of the Pennsylvania Paggots, and he's MAGA Paggot Maggot, whatever. We'll figure it out. Did Chip Roy call MAGA Republicans motherfuckers? Ha 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 ha. I don't know. Like, this is just awesome. Okay, here we go. So here we go. I haven't watched this. God knows. What a bunch of dumbasses. Here we go.
Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this man back. He is my U.S. representative, my district. It is Chip Roy. Chip, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you after your tremendous losses and how all of your messaging ate ass and Donald Trump was in court again and fucked himself into a cocked hat and his daughter basically painted him into a corner and your entire messaging around abortion and voting was responsible for every loss you had across the country. How's it going?
Good, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I wanted to...
He looks happy. Good. How are you?
Start with the election from last night, but first, let me...
Yeah, start with that.
Clear the air, because I go to these X spaces, and I've actually texted you. Well,
I go to these X spaces. Okay, X spaces, for those of you who don't know, are... just like they're like radio chat rooms from the mid-90s or something. You just like they're just talking spaces on X, and they're quite frankly death traps of racism and shit. Don't interrupt so much. I have to for legal reasons. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm in some of these, and they seem to think that
you're an asshole.
You're calling anybody who supports Donald Trump an MF'er at some point. I don't even remember.
That wasn't a head shake no. Not at all.
Why you were angry that day, but
gee, I can't imagine all the losses or the fact that they're immovable or that now you've got a speaker who has to explain his 40-year-old not adopted son with a criminal record to everyone and might be closeted and has some sort of porn app thing with his son, and that's the messaging you have to deal with while you're trying to carve the fucking country up. I can't imagine.
It wasn't about those of us who support Trump, was it?
Yeah, fuck you. You're a motherfucker, Joey Pags. That's what he's saying.
No, I'll tell you exactly why I was angry. I mean, first of all, but we should get together in Horsefest. I was there this last weekend having a beer and sausage with my dad.
Where are you now? You were there having a beer and a sausage with your dad? That's the kind of bonding I could only dream of, I guess. A beer and a sausage. Just were you at the fairgrounds or?
Oh yeah,
that's good living.
That's good living.
But here's the thing. I'll tell you exactly why I was angry. Because there were people who were calling into my office and harassing members of my staff.
What? That's terrible. No. They were. When did that shit start? Well, I can't imagine. I certainly hope these people, and you know why it's upsetting? It's because if they're calling in and harassing your staff, they can't do what they normally do, which is calling in Democrats and other people's staff and harassing them. We'll just file this under taste of your own fucking medicine, you dipshit.
Over matters that were frankly completely out of bounds because somebody had put something out there that was totally untrue about me supporting Ukraine, because I had simply said in an interview that maybe, just maybe, if Ukraine is funded, we should get our border secured first.
Yes.
That was all I said.
I defended you on that. I knew that you were misrepresented.
Yeah, you were totally misrepresented. We know you love Putin and Russia, and you hope that he, after he's finished murdering and raping and slaughtering everyone in Ukraine, that he moves on to Poland and Germany. And, you know, when we get back into a World War III that's much closer to World War II, and then he fucks up the Georgians, and Jesus Christ, the Armenians are going to be fucked, right? Yeah, can't wait till you get to I can see why you would side with him, you know, in that situation. So no, nobody believes you. You want to support Ukraine? That would be awful. They're the innocent victims in this. That would be completely off-brand for the Republican Party.
But go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead. Anyway.
And then a whole bunch of people, including people that I know, that were putting that out. And then my office was getting harassed by, frankly, a lot of people out there.
The kind of people you sick on other people? Okay.
who are MAGA influencers out there in the Twitterverse and out there who fancy
MAGA influencers out there in the Twitterverse eating their own. It's sad. Come on. Hold on. There's got to be something in here that I can, something that gets the thought across that what is this? Yeah, that would be it. That would be, yeah, but, boo fuckity who.
themselves really important, not constituents that are sitting in my district that wanted to call and say, hey, Congressman Roy, can you help me or explain some position?
Can you explain something? Can you put down that sausage for 1 fucking second?
But people that are harassing people that I hire who are
the irony. Seriously, you guys, the irony of this motherfucker. Just blind to the fact that all they do all fucking day is sick these assholes on everybody else. They get a minor taste of their own medicine because of a misunderstanding. And this motherfucker is like, oh, Joey Pegs, can you please have me on your show? I need to walk through this. Oh dear. Yes, I'm Joey Pegs. We need to tell these MAGA influencers in the Twitterverse to stop doing this. This is a terrible thing.
good people,
Fuck up.
and they were being rude, and I was
What? Wait a minute. Rude? Rude? That's all you got? We all get death threats. You just get rude? I would ask for a refund, my friend.
frankly, I'm over it, and I'm over it now. It's not that I was just mad one day. No,
Yeah.
I'm always mad. I'm like the impotent Hulk who doesn't help and will never mix with my banner side to be smart and strong and is useless. And I'm angry all the time just for no particular purpose.
you don't get to do that. All right.
Yeah, they do. Guess what? They're going to keep doing it, dumb fuck.
You want to call my office? You call respectfully. You've got a question about an issue. I owe.
Hi, yeah, I have a message for Mr. Chip Roy. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be respectful, but I have it's about something that I don't know if there's an additive in the food in the air. I ate at a local restaurant. Okay, to be completely frank, I had a sausage at Horse Fest, and I'm not completely convinced it was a sausage. Your dad came up to me and said, try the sausage. And he was eating one that was different than the one I bought at the thing. The one he ate was still attached to the horse. Anyways. Respectfully, click.
that to my constituents. You some influencer around the country? Pound sand, dude. Don't care what you think.
Yeah, I don't care about fucking MAGA influencers. Fuck you. Fuck you, MAGA. You think this is how this asshole thought things would be going at this stage of the race? Can we just wafting, and we're wafting? Oh, God. Yeah, fuck you, MAGA influencer, YouTuber, Twitterverse person who likes Trump. Fuck you. Notice, by the way, that he never denied calling them motherfuckers.
Gotcha.
All right, you guys are still stuck on the sausage he was eating was still attached to the horse. Is that the line that got you in the chat room? Is that what it was? Sorry. I'm improvising. I'm not completely responsible for what I say because in those moments when I'm in character, I always yes and the thought so that I can get to the next thing. That's just blame Second City. I'm proud of it.
See, I wasn't sure what that was all about, but of course,
It was about him calling you a motherfucker, dum-dum. You're a MAGA influencer. He meant you. Fuck off.
the video went viral because your language was salty, which is fine.
Salty. Not as salty as the sausage he had with his dad.
And I didn't get it, and people were like,
Yeah.
he's calling you that, Pags. I'm like, Chip Roy isn't
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
calling me that for sure.
No, not at
He's not calling me that for sure. I have a real radio show that's on like 3 stations. He meant people who are only on Rumble.
And I want to be very clear about that.
Fuck you.
I support President Trump. I support him if he's the nominee. I've said that repeatedly. Yes, I'm friends with Governor DeSantis.
Yeah.
I will be, going around and spinning tonight and talking to the press during the debate about that.
Oh, so Chip Roy is a spin outreach person for fucking DeSantis? Really? Well, my goodness me. Hold on one second. I'm trying to. Why is this fucking camera not want to? Why? What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? All I want is my. Yeah, I've got to. Maybe I have to close it and reopen it. Anyways, I can't do any of my character cameras because it's being a dick. The Insta360 thinks it's all proud. What's he doing? Why would you do that? It's aggravating me. You're just gonna have to deal with my regular face.
Proudly so. A primary is a good thing. These people that are saying, "Oh, we don't need to do a primary."
Yeah. These people, we don't need to do a primary. Just run Trump. And if anybody, Chip Roy should be the guy. I mean, he should be, listen to him. He knows that of course you need a primary. It just makes Trump stronger.
No, that's not the way our system works. Go earn it. We'll get a nominee, and then we'll go out and win next
Yeah, especially if you don't already have someone in the presidency. Why don't you? Oh, right. You lost. That's right.
year with whoever we get as the nominee. But we've got to do our job right now. And my job is to go fight for the people that I represent and not go listen to some random Twitter influencers.
Yes, it's District 21 Republican, great state of Texas.
Don't fucking dox him, Joey. Jesus, man.
Chip Roy. Chip, I hadn't talked to you since.
Chip, MAGAs are motherfuckers Roy. That's his new name. You memorize it.
You happy with Mike Johnson as the speaker?
Sure. So Mike's a good friend. I've known him for a long time. He's a very good man, good husband, good father. He's a
Is he real quick on your porn policing app, is he on your list of people that get, if you find, I just want to know like how close you guys are.
Constitutional conservative. He is from Northwest Louisiana. My mom grew up in a small town when she was a kid in the district.
The fuck does that have to do with anything?
That he represents?
You mean the district with like some of the shittiest education standards in the fucking country?
And I'm going to go visit Mike. I'm skipping a meeting with Mike right now. When you and I are done, I'm going to go meet with Mike.
Nice.
To go talk about where we're going next. Look, it's a tough job. We got a lot of work to do.
Well, it's cognitively very, very challenging, and I can understand why you and yours might find that work, what's the word, hard.
And I'm not going to give Mike a hall pass any more than I would have given Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Just go over, tell him to meet him, call him a MAGA motherfucker, and go, hey, you're in a good group of people. It's you and the Rumble people.
Yeah.
We need to cut spending. We need to secure the border of the United States. We
need to get way more Republicans elected before anybody has to take us seriously at all, or we need to shut the fuck up and keep the function of the country going. That too, I suppose.
To hold the line on Ukraine, either no more funding, or if there is funding, you got to secure the border.
There is funding. There's going to be funding. There is no line. You don't have a line to hold. What's the line you're holding? Russia's? Avdiivka, you dopey motherfucker.
There are things that we need to execute, and we're going to go talk about doing that.
There are things we need to execute, like Ukrainian children, because
right now, and he's got a tough job with a thin majority, and you've got a recalcitrant Senate with Senate Republicans who are more interested in going after Tommy Tuberville than they are in actually doing their work to.
No, Tommy Tuberville is just stopping them from doing their work. He's literally hamstringing the fucking military in a pissing contest.
Secure the border and helping the House do our job. So
yeah, it's not up to senators to help you do your fucking job. If you don't have the votes to pass something, it's your ass.
We're going to have to go hold the Senate accountable and then push Biden to do the right thing. And hopefully Mike will do that, and we'll go work with him to try.
Why won't my, why can't I, hold on. It won't even turn on, will it? Nope. God damn it. I've never wanted to be salty cupcake so much in my fucking life. Say hopefully again, motherfucker. Say hopefully again.
Hopefully, in your meeting with the speaker,
Oh, you fucking say hopefully again.
you can do two things for me. I'm sure that you've already asked him about the first one, the January 6 tapes. We want them.
Yeah.
We want to see them now. Not at some terminal that Tucker Carlson's people can go look at. They should be released. We own them. I'm not really sure why.
No, you don't, dumbass. Because, all right, because there are elements of those tapes that show secret areas where certain doors that look like they go someplace normal fucking don't. They've changed the pathways and the markings on doors so that in the case of a violent incursion like this, or a 9/11 situation, the Congress people and the Senate and their staff and everybody has places they can go to be fucking safe, and showing those fucking scenes on television would let people know, hey, that's interesting. If you watch where Mike Pence goes and you just follow these tapes, shit, you can see exactly where he goes and kill him next time. No, you dumb motherfucker. You don't get to see the security tapes of any public building or government-held building. You don't get to see the inside security tapes of the fucking FBI that runs every fucking day. You don't get to see the fucking hallways of the White House. There's no fucking reason.
They're not being released. And the second thing, tell them to come on my show. What's the problem?
I'll be happy to tell Mike to come on the show. I'm sure he'd love to. I'm serious. I'm sure
Yeah, I don't think so.
he'll do that. On the first point, I do not want to get in front of the speaker, but let me just tell you that I know where the speaker's heart and where he's committed to doing on that, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be pleased. But let me leave it at that until he gets the chance.
Pretty sure. Hopefully. Yeah. That's leadership. I mean, that right there.
To act here shortly.
You've always been an amazing champion for our tax dollars and stopping the out-of-control spending.
No, he's trying to gut the head start that the blue states have because of federal spending, because Texas, by being assholes, have turned down a lot of that funding to the detriment of the children that grow up there over the years and is left behind in a pit of their own digging. And so he's trying to level that shit out. And he's like, if our kids are going to be dumbasses, we want all those other kids to be dumbasses too. It doesn't work that way.
As you and I have talked about, Kevin McCarthy did get rolled by, I believe, I'll use that terminology, Joe Biden when it came to the debt ceiling.
Yep.
Yeah. Old doddering fool who can't put a sentence together, doesn't know how to walk off a stage, and yet he was able to roll Mike McCarthy. Roll his nuts right over Mike McCarthy's forehead. He also bounced him off of Matt Gaetz's on his way out the door and made Matt Gaetz collapse any chance that Republicans retain the House next year, because all you motherfuckers get to run on is chaos in a chaotic world. What kind of an asshole will vote for people who go, now's the time to fucking tighten our belts and stop supporting education and infrastructure and all that shit in the country and protecting ourselves against possible infectious diseases. This is the time to stop all that shit because we got a lot of spare time. We're not dealing with anything outside the country, so.
And you educated me on this. He basically gave him an open debt ceiling, indefinite debt ceiling, until March of 2025, after the next presidential election.
Yeah, but he had to get anything these dickheads wanted, and if he didn't get those little things that these assholes asked for, he wouldn't have had to do that to secure it. It's their fucking fault. Chip Roy, Matt Gaetz, all these assholes who forced McCarthy to give them these special concessions and put him on these fucking committees. They're why he had to give that part away to get some shit for them. As pitiful and useless as that shit was.
Election, that's not okay. So what can you do in the meantime? That's already
nothing.
Like on the books. How can you ever pull back spending before March of 25? Can you?
Yeah, well, first of all, that is an increase in the debt ceiling, right? That allows us to spend that money, but it's not actually an appropriation. So What we've been doing this year is to try to break the system and get back to what we're supposed to do, which
break the system. Yeah, it's always great when somebody new on the fucking job who is responsible for flooding the kitchen going, I don't even know, why does a restaurant need a kitchen, really?
Appropriations bills, so we can change the policies of the Pelosi, House last year. But unfortunately, you remember, 17 Senate Republicans sided with Nancy Pelosi to jam us with a spending bill.
Woohoo!
So now we're operating under a 45-day CR of that continued spending from last year, which I didn't want to do. I voted against.
Tough shit.
That was a part of the speaker's debate, and now that expires next January. So to answer your question, my path forward would be to continue to move the appropriations bills. You got to give the speaker a little bit of grace now because of what we.
Yeah, you can't have it Twitterverse maggots, these motherfuckers calling his office, being rude.
We just went through with the speaker's fight to
Right.
give him a little bit of time, but we need to cut spending. And the way you do that is if you do any kind of a continued resolution or a stopgap spending measure, you cut at least the debt ceiling deal levels, you cut spending by about 1%. You'll remember, I put forward legislation in September that would have done that.
Yes.
We weren't able to get that moved. I thought.
Yeah. So you did that, and you weren't even able, with the control that you have of the House, to pass that part of it through the House.
I thought that was the right thing to do. But what I would do right now is move forward a cut spending bill. I would do it in a couple of phases to isolate the Department of Homeland Security so we can go after them and border security. I would simultaneously move.
Okay, these assholes are just looking for a line item veto on the departments or the elements of the government that they think are good. They will fully fund them and underfund everything else. This is why we get an omnibus. That's why. Because if you left it to whatever far left Democrats, it'd all be like Department of Education and fuck the military would be gutted, right? Never passed the military bill. If that was how you did shit, then everybody could hold whatever part of, like, if you're just a straight up industrialist and you were like, you know what, we'd make a lot more money if we got all of our grain and shit from overseas or from Canada or from South America. So fuck the farm bill. Let's vote on these separately, but I can get enough people on my side of this to fuck the farm bill out of existence. So we'll just zero out the fucking farm bill forever. They would do it. And so to keep shit like that from happening, you pass a giant bill that deals with all the programs at once. And that's why you have fucking committees that work on each part.
Move Israel paid for, take the money out of the IRS funding, which Mike has already sent that over to the Senate.
Right.
But I would include that in the package. And the final thing I would do is that disaster spending, $16 billion that we spent about a month ago, I would pay for that out of the IRS as well.
And then how do you actually take in any money to fund
so we can honor our commitment to shrink the expansion of the IRS?
Yeah, you're half of a third of the fucking government. It's going to get put back in, fucko.
Pay as we go, cut spending year over year, and do our part to try to force security of the border, which we're going to have to use Ukraine and the appropriations process to try to force them to do.
No, not to try to force them to do. First of all, Democrats have a comprehensive immigration plan that includes border security, just high-tech border security, instead of this fucking Berlin Wall bullshit that Donald Trump wants to do. There's portions of it are barrier, but the rest of it is fucking drones and like thermal towers that can spot human beings and lawyers to deal with asylum seekers and flight systems where they can fly people back to their country much quicker using a separate airfield just for that shit. That's what's in there. This motherfucker just wants, I don't know, fucking a moat and some alligators or some shit. No drones, no thermal towers, none of that stuff. No more CBP personnel, none of that shit. It's already going to be there. You don't have to leverage anything to get more shit there. They just want it specific to their choices of what they believe is the most valuable part of this. And again, if the wall fucking worked, it would have worked. Why is the border worse after the wall went up? So, anyways, the other aspect of this, of course, is that they just want to cut Ukraine. And what he means is, well, if we force them to give us some budget shit, which they're going to give us anyways, we'll give in a little on Ukraine to get that through or whatever. I got news for you. There's enough people in the Republican Party and on the Democratic side who know what's in the comprehensive immigration bill that they want to get through and all the border stuff that they actually want to do, which means more lawyers, means drones, all that kind of shit, a high-tech border across the board. There's enough that want that and Republicans that want that where they're like, of course I'm going to sign off on it. And you'll get full Ukraine funding with it because they know they'll be able to sell this to your constituents. Meanwhile, the Chip Roys of the world are like, we just want the wall 2 feet higher and with spikes on it or some shit, and everything that actually works, fuck it.
Representative Chip Roy, District 21, Republican, great state of Texas. I should know this answer, and I think I do, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Yes, you're a motherfucker. That's what he said. You particularly, Joey Pags, he called you a motherfucker.
Have we gone back to the original baseline, or are we still on the COVID baseline?
So we have, in certain appropriations bills that we passed, so we've passed 7 appropriations bills of the 12. We've got several others in process. Some of those bills have gone back to 2019, which would be pre-COVID, or 2020, kind of depends on the bill.
Yeah, because that's where the Biden fucking budget went.
Some of those bills only go back to 2022 or 2021, which doesn't go back as far as I would prefer.
Because I want to slow the growth of America right about now while interest rates are high and Americans are still spending money. I would like to collapse that. I would like to kneecap the American consumer at one of the worst possible times. If we could just have another 2008, I've got a lot of cash on hand, just like Ted Cruz. It's sitting outside the country in fucking Cayman accounts, and I'm just waiting for the whole thing to crash down so I can buy the fuck in. That's where these assholes are coming from.
The overall spend is going to be closer to last year's spending level, but that is because we're increasing defense spending.
Okay.
Now, if I were czar, I would go through and slash a lot of the bloat and bureaucracy at the Pentagon. Our appropriations bill does some of that, probably not as far as I would prefer to go, but we're increasing defense, cutting some of the bureaucracy, the woke crap, the DEI, all of that, and we're decreasing the non-defense spending by 8%.
Also, wait a second. Okay, the woke crap, the DEI that he's talking about is like on your entire body. If your entire body was the Pentagon budget, that's the fucking edge of your fingernail. The part where you're not even a full, like, overgrown fingernail. It's where you cut your fingernail, you clipped them, and one side's growing a little faster, so it's sticking out, and you're like, why is that uneven like that? That little snip, yeah, that part. The one you almost tear off yourself instead of getting clippers, that's what that fucking is. Yeah, if that. Exactly, Ginger. If that. Fuck off. We're totally knocking out the woke stuff. How much is that? I don't know, $160,000, $170,000. Cash. I mean cash, real.
Cash. Green cash.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Roughly. Get the fuck out of here.
That doesn't go as far as you and I would like to go.
Yes, they would like to scuttle the entire U.S. military until Russia is able to take over Europe. And then all nukes from that point forward, I guess.
But it does go, it takes a giant step down the road, and some of the appropriations.
What road would that be? The road towards Stalingrad?
Bills goes back to pre-COVID. We're still negotiating that and trying to get it as low as we can. Now, that's House side.
Right.
Now we got to go fight it out with the Senate.
I hope we can get all of it back to pre-COVID and then actually start cutting the budget, because the only thing we're hearing from the Biden administration, all of his economic advisors come out and say, well, this is because the House won't raise taxes. We've got to go and get more taxes. We've got to raise. They're not paying their fair share. Biden said that in a speech last week. Chip, is there a fear that we're going to go back and roll back those 2017 tax cuts that we're all enjoying?
That we're all enjoying? Wait a minute. How can you Joey Pags, we're all enjoying? Young man. Oh, Joe. Say it ain't so, Joe. The tax cuts we're all enjoying. Okay, first of all, the ones for personal, accounts, the individuals, that sunsetted already. The ones for corporations still around, which again, this guy and this guy both are incorporated, have corporations. Probably Joey probably has 3 of them minimum, you think? One for his radio show, one for his live thing, whatever, just fucking firewalling all of his shit, all that kind of stuff. He's just enjoying it. He's enjoying it. If you're enjoying those tax cuts, I don't want to hear shit about how any deficits in the military spending that you don't like, or anything that, like the infrastructure in Texas and the energy grid there that fucking sucks. I don't want to hear it. Because you're fine with that money just being flushed down the toilet. And if you're enjoying it, how are you enjoying it if the country that you love, America, is going to hell in the tubes of hell tubes?
Sure, of course, that's what the Democrats want to do. Now, look, you and I might look at that bill and say, well, maybe I'll tweak something or change one little piece here.
Oh, watch yourself. You're going to get some rude phone calls.
But we need to have lower taxes to have economic growth.
Yes.
That bill created economic growth. And here's the actual truth. And you go like,
no, it didn't. It almost single-handedly created BlackRock as a financial force in the fucking country. It's almost singularly why they were able to buy up as much real estate as they were in the last fucking 4 or 5 years.
look at the Rules Committee.
One of the reasons you've heard about BlackRock so much in the last couple of years is because of the Trump tax cuts, just fucking cutting them off the fucking chain and letting them run wild.
Debates I've had with Democrats. Every stinking week, they come in there and talk about the need to raise taxes. And I'll say, listen, in the history of this country, there's only been 2 other times where we've had the spending level that the percentage of GDP revenue coming into the Treasury that we have today, which is roughly 19.1%. We did it at World War II, and we did it in 1999 at the back end of the dot-com boom.
Right.
So 3 times.
At the back end of the dot-com boom. You mean the burst of the bubble?
In our history, we had close to 20% of GDP coming into the Treasury as the total receipts. That's not counting the states. That's not counting localities. My point of bringing that up, Joe, is that my Democratic colleagues, they protest too much. The tax policies in place are bringing in more revenue to the Treasury as a percent.
Yeah, but Trump drove up the national debt by 1/3. And we just went through fucking COVID, and the supply chains are shifting. The world actually changed. Again, this motherfucker is doing the same thing they do at Market Watch and Bloomberg and all these other places where they pretend that we didn't go through COVID. That's exactly what he's doing. That COVID wasn't shit. That didn't happen. It's not even part of how we think about this anymore. Ugh.
Percentage of our.
All right, I'm almost done with this. It's too long, and it's just not going anywhere. But I do enjoy the fact that they can't stand each other, and this is just watching Chip Roy try to polish this turd using Joey Pags' tongue is probably the best side of this.
Economy than at pretty much any time in our history. So that is a complete fool's errand to go chase more revenue via tax policy when our problem is a spending problem, whether it's mandatory, Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, veterans benefits, that we've got to make sure the prices of healthcare are such that we can afford all that.
Right.
Or whether it's discretionary spending, which is everything we're fighting about right now.
Nobody's talking about that. So almost 20% of everything is coming from tax revenue. That's crazy to me.
19.1% for 2022. Now, I think it's going down a little bit in 23 because of the Biden economy sucking.
Yeah.
But in 2022, 19.1% of our
No, because they're giving tax breaks to people because the federal interest rate went up.
gross domestic product came into the federal government as revenue receipts. That, again, does not count Texas, does not count states, does not count localities. You know your property tax bill. You know your sales tax bill.
Right.
Other states have income tax bills. You've got excise taxes. So the overall tax burden is a lot higher than the 19% of the economy, right? It's probably closer, I'm making this up, like 30. I don't know.
Yeah, just make it up. I mean, it's not like you're on one of these fucking committees that knows the number or should know the number off the top of your fucking head. This is, by the way, in chat room, hi. They're boring the fuck out of me. This is that you can tell the Republicans are in deep shit. Excuse me. when even eating their own, they're boring themselves to death. Now, one of the ways you get out of a problem like that, one of the ways you save your own ass, if you're saying stuff that your own constituents hate, one of the ways out of that is by boring them. Just talk slower about it or get into minutia they're not going to get excited about. And if anybody tries to drive you towards like tough language, drop one in there so you can feel like a boss or get a little snippet. But then the rest of it go, well, there's elements of it and we're dealing with headwinds that blah, blah, blah. And just fucking turn it into a snooze fest hoping people drop out.